insist on fighting me, I shall crush you.
Dude. She uses the
yeah, this is it, because she does the charge to start.
More. It's fully armored.
Bro, that fucking meter thing install, bro, that thing lasts so long.
You do it, you gain pips.
Her install,
like,
it lasts so long.
Like, I think that's like something that I gotta mess with quite a bit. Magneto though, like he really.
I think the footage is better on his
in terms of, like, when he gets
Twitch. I'll watch on his Twitch. I think the footage is better on his Twitch. I think his footage is very compressed. Or he sent it to his editor. Oh, for my brethren. Found it.
going. I think like
Magic Ghostwriter. Yep.
Based on who you pick, basically. She uses the charge also. Maybe I should have been using that more. It's
then she catches out low 3 and she does crazy damage. Infinite air dashes. Like, wait, what? Infinite?
Like, I think that's like something that I gotta mess with.
Really?
Magneto though, like he really is hard.
Wait, can she only do that hop and install?
I think like basically if he gets a projectile out,
he plays Zenless. No, I didn't play Zenless yet.
Projectiles at you, and it seems very hard to deal with. That is also very strong. She can do the spear throw, and then afterwards do the fucking.
I haven't installed. I just didn't try yet.
We're gonna try some more. And like it's that's fast fall, but I don't think the fast fall.
Oh, she has a fast fall.
Scary off of a jump in. I think it looks pretty scary when she like is in the air and hasn't committed and then fast falls.
Sheesh. Dash in any direction. Oh my god,
that's
the directional movement this game has.
Pulls you in, get a combo off of it. Yeah, that's down down move. So that's like down down light or down down.
Oh, I didn't tweet the stream out. God damn it.
For Magneto, it's a pretty scary move to deal with. It's plus it pulls you in, and then he gets to beat your ass after, and he gets a combo on hit.
I'm all set to go.
Dude, you hear how they all have lines? Like they all talk to each other. Like when a character comes out, they say some shit. They're like, "Shuri, I'm here now. What's up?" Yeah, this game comes out August 6th.
Play Magic.
Look at this. Okay, this is character specific combo, by the way. So remember, I was just doing like the generic combo, right? But this is, if you look at this is like character specific stuff. So let's see here. He like gets the hit. What's his combo looking like? He does quarter circle back M, call assist.
Call assist. What is the EX version I do? I wonder.
This is like air jump heavy, and then he does.
What is that?
This is the command grab, right? And then he shoots fireball after.
It gives
and
a
then this
floor
gives a
bounce.
Combo, a little ground bounce.
That shit is hard.
J2H. Yeah,
that's Majesty, yeah.
That was like 40%. He has a charge heavy that also magnetizes you. Yeah, this is infinite air dash strength as well. This is what she gains during her install. So like right now, until that meter in the bottom left runs out, she can just keep doing her dash like this. You can just do spear throw, dash.
Oh hell no!
Fastball mix like that. So her install is very scary.
Broken.
It basically makes her
nerf her.
Cancel everything.
Nerf her. Oh hell nah. Infinite. It looks like it lasts so long. This is the
super she gets when she's in the install. Like LMH spear throw dash is very good. Even when you don't have install,
dude,
you just have one.
It lasts so long. It lasts so long, bro. What the fuck?
Yeah, she is sick as fuck. Wait, this doesn't have music. I just realized.
Stage
I just realized that there's no music on.
The Wakanda stage?
Yeah, that is her like charge H or whatever I think it is. Or not charge H, but charge. I don't remember the input. Charge U. Whatever it is, it's like armored and it gives her the meter.
It's pretty unique to her.
Air dash, nice.
She has a key charge, literally.
I need people on the bus now.
Bro, I wanted to get on the Chipotle bus.
To the devs. I asked
last Evo I went to.
Have you guys seen the Ryan Gosling?
They had the Chipotle bus, but it wasn't there when we wanted to go.
Like, yeah, they were like, yeah, why? And I was like, dude, I'm gonna be saying Tokon.
It was like me, Shine, Saratina, Huntress. We were supposed to get on the Chipotle bus, but when we wanted to get on it, that shit was already gone, I think. The fucking Chipotle bus, bro.
Look at this command grab.
That command grab.
Look at all that debris.
Jeez, bro.
He gets to use it to gain like tons of plus frame and extra damage. He is like so cool. Like they really made him so different from Marvel 3 Magneto, but in like a dope way. Charge H, tumble state, that works. You can actually
does work. Yeah, we saw that earlier. That does work.
That's unique about her. So we were talking about character specific combos earlier, right? So she does.
Why didn't I work with this combo though?
If she does her charged H, this move, if she beak drivers you, the charge version of this creates a tumble state. So that's like the
Oh,
state
she
that
didn't
happens
charge
when
it.
you call an assist or something, right? And it's very powerful because if you get the tumble, you can do a combo after.
Bro, I love
She
how he
does it
leaves
later.
debris.
She also
so
has
he can
the
use it
Kali
later
Air
to
Kunai.
enhance his other specials.
It's down, the blast.
I think she does it right
air
here.
Combo after him. Missed
Oh,
it, but
no,
that you
damn.
can do a combo like that.
In the GameSpot footage yesterday, we saw it worked. It was a long ass combo too.
Wakanda forever. I mean, I had
Because
to
the
rip
combo
that
looked like it
shit.
was gonna
was
end,
just
but
too
no, it didn't.
powerful. Especially because this character, Black Panther, is she's got a lot of cool stuff that I really like in a character.
Does he lose it when
I
he gets
saw her,
hit?
I was like, oh.
I have no clue. I haven't paid attention to
definitely
Magneto
gonna play
enough
this
to
You know,
notice.
it's kind of funny because I know
doubt it,
there's
though.
like a culture war on Twitter for people who
I see
don't
there's
play
metal
fighting
on the
games
screen right
are,
there,
like,
you see
really
that?
mad
Oh, he
that
got
it's
hit.
her
Yeah, it's still
instead
there.
of T'Challa. But T'Challa was in like Black Panther. T'Challa version was in MVCI and he was really cool. But I think
It kind
the
of
way
makes sense that
he
he's a
played
zoner though, because
is
the whole
probably-
metal thing where he's like pushing and pulling and using debris and stuff.
Oh, look at this combo with Cap. Oh shit, DP combos in the corner. The way he plays is probably less like a character I would like playing than Shuri, to be honest, because they made her a character where like she has a long range weapon and like bigger normals, and they made her like more of like a
Is the game gonna have modern
like,
controllers?
fast volley, tricky like
as
mix
both.
up character with it.
You can
and,
use
like,
command
the big normal.
inputs. You can use command inputs, or you can use modern controls. Just like Street Fighter 6, you can play on modern or classic. It doesn't matter. Motion inputs do more damage, but like I think it's only about like 5%. It's not as big of a difference as it is in Street Fighter 6, to my knowledge. And I don't think you lose any of your normals. I think it's like Grand Blue, yeah. To where it's not really. I don't think if you're gonna take this game serious and play it a lot, I don't think you should play on motion inputs. I'm probably gonna do that. I don't think you should though, because it's not like Street Fighter to where like you lose normals, some of your specials, and what is it, 25% damage difference? I think in this game it's only like a 5%. Or something like max set is 10, something like it's somewhere around there. I don't think that's that major to a point where like it's worth it, but I don't know. We'll see. I mean, they might change it. Like in Grand Blue, I know like almost every Grand Blue Pro they don't play with command inputs because it's no point in playing with command inputs in that game.
Whereas like he kind of uses the claws.
When I play Grand Blue,
in
I play command
MVCI,
inputs though, but
and
I'm
like
just
he's
too
more
used to it.
focused on that, which I think is like probably.
I know
little less
Diaphone doesn't
my
use command
style,
inputs though.
personally. So it's interesting because if he was in the game and he didn't use the spear, he just like uses the claws, which I think people associate more with him anyway. Then I think he probably would have been less my playstyle than
inputs.
her.
I mean, I
which
want
is
all the
interesting to
damage
think about
possible,
for
so
me.
I'm probably
As
gonna
far as
still
like
use
raw
motion
gameplay
inputs.
stuff,
You know what I'm
right?
saying? I probably won't, but that's just me because I like looking at the damage.
That shit is.
You know me, I like damage, so
Man.
shit,
Probably
I'm using it.
one.
I like damage, so you know me.
Super sick. Yeah, I mean he throws the spear as well in
Doc Ock would go crazy.
he throws the spear to like proc the thing in Rivals.
Grand Blue
But he's
combos, they
really
don't-
the thing about him in Rivals is
yeah,
the claws
you're
because
right.
he's dashing on you.
In Grand Blue,
You know.
it doesn't. Your combos don't even do less. It's only like if you use a raw super or whatever your first special is. Like if you do like a raw EX skill from across the map or something, yes, that'll do less damage if you're using standard or I mean modern controls. But if you're not, that doesn't even change anything.
No,
I
that's
forgot.
like his thing. Yeah,
It
I
is
don't
like
know if
that.
you can zone this Black Panther character. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know how you zone her because she has an armored move that gets her a resource that gives her free command dash, and then she can just use that free command dash after she absorbs your zoning like that to get in or do offense. You know, so like I actually don't know how you see how she just.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe you do that, but she stands full screen. It just does armor and then just like gets resources and then she just like dives in and kills you. She also has spear toss as well. Her spear throw is like.
Really fast.
good.
It's really good. I like the spear throw assist. That shit was nice.
It's easier to visually parse this gameplay than 2xKO. I would say I could see that until you unlock all your assists and people just start doing all
Spamming
four assists
assists.
over and over
Yeah.
and over because it's free. That's another thing that's crazy about this game. Is assists cost nothing when you.
I mean, if you hit the assist, it doesn't matter.
Like
no?
use them, which is very very powerful because you can just like call all 4 assists and it costs you 0 resources. Like right here, you could hit all 4 assists in a row and it costs you 0 resources. So I think the visual noise of that is going to be pretty crazy, honestly, in like some scenarios
Overhead.
after wall break where people just start like fucking doing all 4 assists.
It's
in a
like
row.
Panther.
Die from whipping them though because of them getting damaged. I mean, if you
The
call
robotic
4
Panther.
assists and then run at your opponent, I doubt all 4 of your assists are taking damage. But
Cooked.
yeah, I mean, I see the point you're making. But
DD, bro, Iron Fist will go crazy in this game. I'm surprised Iron Fist isn't base roster. I can't lie, because Iron Fist would be a really good addition in this game. Iron Fist would go crazy.
Self-explanatory feels like a mean thing to say there. I don't know if it's just me. Saying I win, you fall. It's self-explanatory.
He says that, damn.
Like, just wanted to touch it. He had like upload though. So let me go to the next one.
See some Blade of Magic already? No one has any footage,
So this
bro.
is like the B-roll they sent in. GameSpot uploaded this, but they didn't upload the whole thing. I think they only cut like the parts they thought were cool, but I figured you guys would want to see the whole thing. You know?
You see that whole thing? I was about to say, it's not 1440. It is.
Hope we can change VAs per character. Didn't Max's footage have that? I thought when I was watching that he had like one character in Japanese and one character in English.
Did he?
Am I crazy, or were they all in Japanese?
Did he? Does anyone know?
I thought when I heard his footage,
I didn't
that, like,
watch
one
all of
the
his
characters
footage
had a
because
different
they were
VO than
like,
the other.
I didn't see a single drop of combos.
Who died?
But then again, I only watched like a couple minutes. I should have watched the whole thing. Did he or did he? This dude.
I'm with you. That's a good Spider-Man line.
Why'd I start stream so late? Because I woke up extremely late because I chose to work out at 8 a.m. Even though I shouldn't have.
And he just speaks Japanese from time to time. Okay, yeah, maybe that's what it was.
Very bad idea. Even though I'm probably gonna end up doing that again tonight.
Dude, look at Daredevil just in the background of that.
I woke up
building.
at like
Fucking
7 p.m. Or was it 6? I don't remember. Woke up stupid late.
I'm here.
Oh, this combo crazy. Look at this. That was a
lot of
high
damage.
extension,
Or,
yeah.
like a combo with no super and like no meter. Flame carpet.
Oh, that could have been a
assist
side
seems really good,
switch.
by the way. The
That
back
could have been a
assist from
side
Ghost Rider,
switch right there. You see that shit?
that does a lot of damage for like a combo with no
Spider-Man. I'm not
super
playing
and, like,
Spider-Man.
no
Ghost Rider.
meter.
Cross
Yeah.
up. Oh, but her no. I think she pressed the normal too fast. Yeah, she pressed the normal too fast. So it didn't cross
Flame
up.
carpet. That assist seems really good, by the way. The back assist from Ghost Rider. It's a homing flame carpet. Seems good for lockdown, and also seems pretty good to just like do in neutral because you just.
I think
spawn
Cloud said
flame
they
carpets
nerfed
and
that. They nerfed
seems
that
like
move though. At least on the normal version.
pretty annoying. To
The
do,
Oki doesn't work no more. You're not playing? Nah. I'm watching footage. This game isn't out yet. This game comes out next month, and the
yeah,
open
I
beta
think Mag is probably
is on like the
pretty
24th.
happy to set up in neutral. If you just give him time, he can like start to just spam.
He don't
rock,
got
get
that
the
much
free out,
motion.
and then
We already watched
start
the
to
episodes
just,
of
like,
Cloud.
pull you in, like get mix-ups off of it. Like he really
We watched it live
becomes
when it happened.
pesky the longer he gets.
All right,
to
the
shoot.
video's on the second channel. I reacted to it already.
Metallic might.
Metallic might. Yo, whoever dev this is, this dude loves Shuri.
Dude, something about fighting game voice lines, they're just so addicting, man. I don't know what it is about fighting games, but like every voice line is just so good. You just hear them say anything and that shit gets me hype every time.
I mean, that's pretty much what you can do in this game.
Yeah,
You
they
don't
have a
to switch
lot of good
characters.
VOs. Like I was saying earlier, but one thing about this game that's really cool is like the VOs are like lots of classic VOs for the characters, but also like characters for VOs that are really popular right now. It's like a nice mix of like people who've been doing the voices for a long time, and then like also this combo's heat into the daggers. Oh shit! She could have actually killed there if she did super at the end. That combo is cool. Like so, this combo could have killed.
Good job interview
Actually,
tomorrow.
I'm pretty
Good luck,
sure.
man. You got this.
Like
Lock
2H,
in.
air
Lock in,
combo,
bro.
Spike.
Lock the
and then you
fuck in,
do
bro.
2H again. Wall splat. Charge heavy. EX blast.
That fastball cancel was crazy. Wait, what fastball
Shit, those
cancel?
are
I
really
missed
popular
it.
right now. It's like a nice mix of like people who've been doing the voices for a long time, and then like also this
She
combo's
can
heat.
combo
Into the
off
dagger
that.
characters.
Jesus
And they
Christ.
have a lot
Look
of
at
good
this
VOs. Like, I was
combo.
saying
Wait,
earlier,
what?
But one thing about this game that's really cool is like the VOs
Yeah,
are
look at my camera.
like lots of classic VOs for the characters, but also like characters for VOs that are really popular right now. It's like a nice mix of like people who've been doing
Look,
the
this
voices
combo's
for a
about to
long
drop.
time,
Nope.
and then like
Charge
also,
spear.
This combo's heat into the daggers. Oh shit!
Jesus Christ.
She could have actually killed there if she did super at the end. That combo is cool. Like so, this combo could have killed. Actually, I'm pretty sure. Like 2H, air combo, spike, and then you do 2H again, wall splat, charge heavy,
Charge
EX
heavy,
blast,
Blast,
fastball,
stab.
stand heavy, dagger toss,
Jeez,
assist,
bro.
stand heavy. If that was a super there, then that would have killed, I think.
KO. Murderous. What are you talking about, dude?
I suppose I need to keep looking.
Damn, she talks a lot of shit.
She talks a lot of shit. She talks a lot of shit.
Oh, that side swap, that was really
She
cool.
does. What the
She
hell?
talks a lot of shit.
Why does she
Dude,
talk
my
so much
favorite
shit?
thing about this game so far is I was talking about like the footage yesterday, and I was talking to Infer Reacts, and you know how it is. We're talking shit. I was talking about how I was gonna body.
Oh my god, this guy. This fucking guy, bro.
What
did he just say? Hold on. I don't even remember which one, bro.
Oh, that side swap. That was
Every
really
time I
cool.
end the stream, I always
She
talk to
talks
these
a lot of
guys.
shit.
What's some dumb shit?
Dude, my favorite
while playing
thing about
2X.
this game so far is I was talking about like the footage yesterday, and I was talking to Infer Reacts, and you know how it is. We're talking shit. I was talking about how I was gonna body him with Blade when Blade is playable, and then he was like, "Are you even gonna play Blade? Like, aren't you gonna play like Sherry or whatever her name is?"
Bro. This is what I'm referring to, bro. Hey, he's gonna play Shuri, bro, and he's gonna fucking pull up with his fucking white Wakanda. That's what I said. Are you just gonna play Shuri, bro, or some shit? Like, bro, like, what the fuck? What do you mean? Like, you're not even gonna actually play Blade. I know who you are, bro. Put that fucking suit on, bro. What are you talking about?
I was like, "You mean Shuri, the Black Panther?"
Shuri, Sherry. Oh, I'm a minute. Okay, I know what conversation this is. I said, what'd I say? I said Shuri. And I think I said Sherry. And he said, "You mean Shuri?" And I was like, okay, fuck it. I'm gonna just start calling her Cherry if you're gonna get so fucking specific
He's
about
like,
it.
"Yeah, whatever that girl's name is." And I
Yeah,
was
whatever
like,
that
this
girl's
is unbelievable. The disrespect.
Put that fucking suit on, bruh.
I was like, the disrespect.
Put that
man. Into the
fucking
install
suit on,
combo?
bro.
Oh, wait, hold up. Fastball? Wait, hold up. This is a cool ass combo.
Fucking Ryan Gosling.
And then now you can just like, you can do 4
Cherry
on them.
Panther.
Meow, like that. And then fastball bait. Meow, and then go down again. This install is so cool. Installs that give you infinite mobility, like, come on, man. Like, it can't not be cool. Oh, I think he just made himself
Bro, looking like
punishable.
Ryan
Oh,
Gosling with the
so
suit
good.
on, bro. Put that damn fucking Black Panther suit on, bro. Fucking Wakanda needs you.
Let's not pretend anybody.
See, what
knew
are they
her
doing
name.
right now? I think
Shuri?
they're on Deadlock. Oh, they're on Deadlock,
Bro,
I think.
she's been in like 5 Marvel movies. I think people know her name, even if you don't know the comics.
Cherry, Sherry, Shuri.
Sherry.
Cherry?
Yeah, this is, I think, some of the best.
I wonder how
gameplay
good
that they've
Danger's
posted
assists
so far.
are.
Look at this combo. This shit is so much better than my fuck ass combo. Into the rock setup, into the command grab. Okay, this is like.
Look at the metal. You see the yellow
Look at
metal
this.
on the screen after you did that
look at this
combo? That shit is so good, bro.
So it's EX rock to
Great Panther, Ryan Reynolds.
pull you into B plus cross up.
Someone has to edit Sajan's face on. Bro, someone, one of y'all can do it. Go ahead and do this shit. Get the, what is the Sajan picture that's always, all the TOs always use? Fucking do that shit.
J6 age 214.
As I said, are you even gonna
air
actually even
combo,
play Blade? Or are
charge
you
heavy
just like.
into metallic might, the down, and you pull him back down. Get the combo. This is plus, and then it pulls you in. And then he does tick jab
I
into
think that's a
command grab.
charged pull or something.
And then
That
you
shit can
combo
pull
off
you
that as
full
well if you
screen.
follow
It
this.
pulls you really fast too.
It's a cool combo. Like,
Look at the metal on the screen, the yellow.
basically, the way this works is,
I don't know what the
this move-
difference is between the metal being purple on the screen floating or yellow. I think it's even strong because I know like whatever special he does afterwards, if the metal is on the screen, it enhances it. But I think if it's yellow, I think the next skill becomes EX or some shit.
it was just
I think you can use a normal skill and it'll instantly EX it or something. I have no clue how Magneto works, but I think that's my theory.
Combo off of it.
No, I haven't
2H,
tried him.
and then you can charge his H in the air, and this like magnet
Command grab.
This is pretty cool. And then he can like combo after with like fireball or whatever. Then he pulls you back down to the ground, and then he can meet you with this move. This is down, light, or medium. And then he
He
pulls
has a
you
down input. Command grab. They see the floating yellow, well, I guess orange metal.
Wait, this is not me playing. This is dev footage that they sent over B-roll. I was playing earlier.
Oh, grabbed a whole cop car. Like, son.
She's
Son.
out after Infinity War. I mean, she's
Everyone has it down. I think everyone does. I think you're right. Because I remember I played Magic Her down input is the fire pillars that come off the ground or some shit. I think that's what hers was, but I don't remember. She-Hulk, that is She-Hulk, yeah.
She has like a pretty
She-Hulk
big
next to
part
Mary
in that.
Jane. This is Mary Jane right here. This is She-Hulk. This is, oh, what the hell? What's up, Gospel? This is Luna Snow on the banners.
Ghost Rider's cool. Yeah. I mean, it'd
Is
be
it already
Robbie. I
Gospel?
don't think
What's up?
it's, you know, I think people are just happy to see Ghost Rider and stuff, to be honest with you. He's gonna overheat.
Boom.
Are we gonna see the dude
Nice command
down
grab.
inputs? I know. I think
mean,
down
command grab,
inputs
regular
are
grab.
like universally hated.
Neutral
I don't
jump,
think it's like
medium.
a 2xKO problem.
A
I think
Blazing
everybody
session?
hates down.
Yeah, if it was on. That's what's up. How'd that go?
Dude, yeah, Broski screenshotted like the presidential suite, but I think tickets in general, or that hotel in general, the Marina Bay Sands or whatever in Singapore.
Oh, yeah,
is just
Evo
expensive.
Singapore.
Like, I think that hotel is just
Hotel's like
insanely
20K.
expensive.
I said that correctly. 20K for a hotel. But that's like the presidential suite or some shit.
He
So
posted the
busted.
presidential suite at Marina Bay Sands in Singapore, and it's
She's so ass. Let me see this. It's good enough. Hey, it's good enough.
$27,000. Well, this penny combo's crazy.
It's like 27K for a fucking suite.
But I think default hotel prices
I was
are like
seeing so many
$1,800 or
tweets saying that like
something.
if you're going to Evo Singapore, if you're going to Evo Singapore, I know what tax bracket you're in. Don't let me catch y'all like it. I'm like, bro,
Already really expensive.
I know what tax
Yeah,
bracket you in if you go into that
for the
shit.
presidential suite. Yeah.
If you go into Evo Singapore, I know exactly what tax bracket you're in. I don't think I'm going to that shit.
Metallic might.
If I get full on, I'll go. I'm not going.
Oh, he got hit by the trap.
If they're flying me out to do content, sure.
Damn, her noises when she hits you are so fucking
If
loud.
not, hell no, I'm not going.
But he can
I'm
do the
not paying
big
for that
super,
shit.
the assemble super.
Let's go, Mag.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you're dead.
The whole
You're
squad
dead.
beats your ass.
You're super dead. The
This super
Sentinel.
is fucking awesome. On the path to glory.
Damn. This game is so
What cool
beautiful.
ass super.
This game is so beautiful. I still remember my reaction to seeing it when it first got revealed.
Dude, he's rolling them R's.
And I will be the one to lead the way.
I mean,
So sick. So fucking sick. I think that's all.
he looks rad.
Yeah, that's all
it's
the footage.
same as
Motherfucker is so sick, bro. I still remember seeing my review reaction. That shit was crazy.